G'day punters, welcome to the preview show for the mailbag, Rosehill, the run to the Rose. There's 3 Group 2s on the card. It looks like a strong betting meeting. Mark Shean, we've got you in audio only this week, the voice of Sydney racing once more. Just on first impression, how does the card look to your eye?
Sorry guys, I didn't have time to put my makeup on. Well, look, I think a lot depends on how the track plays. We've had a lot of drizzle in Sydney yesterday, so the track was downgraded to a slow 6 and the rails out 6, so could possibly be an advantage to be up on the speed there. So I think a lot will depend on how the track plays early in the day.
Mark Rhoden, you've just battled your way through Hawkesbury today. Your thoughts on...
Didn't bother.
Your thoughts on the Rosehill track coming up this Saturday?
Yeah, I think they've been a bit lucky actually. More rain was forecast for yesterday than actually fell, so they're probably in a better starting position this evening than they anticipated. I had a bit of a look at the last few 6-metre rails across a range of track positions, and the thing that sticks out to me is it won't be a swoopers track, whatever the track is. Even if they're getting off the fence in the straight, fence and run will be good, and running line will be okay. I don't think you're going to be wanting to be wider than that. Even at the 600, like tracking into it 3, 4, 5 wide won't be an advantage from what I can see on these on the past history.
Okay, beautiful. We are going to preview the Quaddie legs, races 6, 7, 8 and 9. We'll start with race 6, the run to the Rose, over 1,200 metres. Mark Shean, I'll start with you. Farnan's coming off 2 trials. We've seen Rothfire trial, Old Kirk and King's Legacy as well. To your eye, Farnan, if you were going to give it a grade A, B, C or D for its 2 trials, what would you allocate that runner?
I'd definitely give it an A. You're looking at a Golden Slipper winner coming back, and they don't win very often, but this horse has stood up at both his trials. He's rolled along, and I think that bit of edge off the track will certainly be in his favour as well. I think that was the one thing coming back, whether he was a horse who was going to adapt to dry tracks, but he's going to get a bit of cut out of the track straight away. So I think that certainly is in his favour.
And is that the way you'll be looking to bet if you are looking to bet in race 6?
Yeah, look, I from just all reports, look, he hasn't developed a lot and isn't carrying a lot of condition from what I've been told. So I think he'd be pretty close to, spot on Saturday after those 2 trials. So I'd anticipate he'd probably go forward and sit outside Rothfire early and then sort out where he's going to go from there. If Rothfire wants to take him on, he might just ease off him. So as Mark anticipates the track playing on speed, I would think he would just be outside the lead and ready to pounce there, where he has won in the past.
Mark Rhoden, price-wise, best available currently $2.50. Yeah. In terms of marking Farnan, where have you got him?
Okay, first edition I've come up with $2.70, so I'm very close. Not close enough to like the Cannons at $2.40, $2.50 or whatever you can get at the moment. I do have differences with the market though. I have Peltz around $10, so I don't have him wildly different, but I don't want to back him. I think I've sort of come to the conclusion he is going to be better when he gets control of a race, and maybe even at 1,400. He's certainly not going to get control of this race, and I think Rothfire would need to be at his absolute top to beat this calibre of field first up, and I doubt he will be. So I've really narrowed it down to Farnan and North Pacific, who I think is another very smart colt. I've actually got him marked around the $4 mark, and there wasn't much edge when I was first looking yesterday, but the market seems to be swinging back to Farnan. I can envisage him running shorter, around 220-ish. And North Pacific might be the forgotten horse. He's out to $5 at least already. So he's probably a bet for me now, and I'd be very keen to bet if he got longer than that as well. He's the one that if Rothfire and Farnan and even Peltzer do put a bit of tempo into the race, he's going to be just smoking his pipe from gate 1. As I said, I think Fence and Run will be fine on Saturday. He could be last look at them. And yes, I just think he's a smart colt regardless, and I think we're probably going to get a reasonable price about him.
Okay. For what it's worth, I really like Farnan. I've got it marked to 219 to be exact.
Did I say it's about 220? Just
I like to round down if required. Look, I'll be having a decent wager. both at 9 a.m. and then once Rob Scurry gets a look at the horse and just putting some in-play lays in just in case he does get nutted late. But I think the horse has returned in super order. I was really taken with both of its trials, so can't wait to see how he returns there on Saturday. We'll jump into race 7 on the card, which is the Theo Marks Stakes over 1,300. My speed map's going up, and then we'll do the synthetic hold as well, which is the best corporate price available at this stage. Mark Shean, I'll throw it to you as well, or to begin with race 7. Quite a few horses trialling here. There's a couple of first starters in Australia as well. Did you find any angle here in race 7?
Just the trialers. Rainier had an easy trial, which he normally does. Crack on, I think would need the run. And Duke of Valentino wasn't knocked about, but I didn't really think he'd be a play here. Senior Fox has been back to the trials and trialled okay, and Riadini didn't really grab me, I've got to say. So, no, nothing much from the trials, in my opinion.
Okay.
This race, I thought Wild Planet would be hard to beat myself. He was luckless there first up when he didn't parade all that great. I can't see a lot of speed here, and I just think he'll lob into the gun spot here. I think he should be in the first 2 or 3 and ready to pounce, and I think he'll take a lot of improvement for that first up run, even though he didn't get much of a crack at them in the straight. The interesting part of this race will be if we see a change of tactics with Fun Star and then all be forgiven for last start, where it was just necked out the back. So I think that will be the key to the day. Fun Star, if the change of tactics need to be ridden closer.
Mark Rhoden, in your early map, where do you have Fun Star?
About midfield, I'm anticipating at least some intent because, as Mark touched on just then, there was absolutely none first up. It did draw a bit wider, and it was 1,200 first up, but just virtually took no part in the race there. From the middle gate, extra 100 metres, not breakneck speed up front either. She shouldn't be really further back to midfield, I would think. A few back markers in the race too. So, yeah, I think it sets up pretty well for her. All her forms against fillies, pretty much. Even when she won the far lap, that was a 5-horse field, and there are only 2 in the market, and they were both fillies. So she still hasn't broken out of the age sex bracket yet. So this is, in a sense, a step up for her. But look, if she's going to live up to what we thought she was as a 3-year-old, I think she gets an opportunity to do it, and she's better than 2 to 1. I'm going to take the risk. I've got to mark 310. She's around that. If she shortens again before Saturday, I'd be happy to pass. But if around the 350, I'd be getting into it.
Yeah, I basically found Fun Star from Wild Planet, and at this stage, I'll probably just be passing on the race unless I get a decent yard push for the Theo Marks. We'll go to race 8, which is the Sheraco Stakes over 1,200 fillies and mares. Look, it's a pretty sizable field. There's a few emergencies in. The map's probably of most interest, and we'll point out when we're doing this, Adelong's still in the market, but from what I last saw, there wasn't a jockey nominated for that horse, so we're sort of just waiting to see what happens there. Mark Shean, I'll throw to you to start with. Do you have an opinion on race 8?
Well, Fasika and Hortbury on her are the ones that have trialled the best. Fasika looks pretty well placed here. She's had 3 trials. Geetra just wore her down in a trial 2 weeks ago, and then she's had a trial subsequently and went terrific. And Hortbury on her actually beat Fasika in 1 trial there, but Fasika was just stayed in its lane out wide, and Hortbury on her got up on the rail, and the barriers are sort of reversed here on race day. So, but I think they both trial really well. Mizzy was some intent in her second trial. She did run second to Bivouac, but she did look to get a little bit tired to me, and I thought I have seen her trial a little bit better.
Okay. Are you looking at betting at this early stage or waiting for the day?
I think Fasika will win, but 260 is a little bit skinny for me. I'm hoping to get a little bit better, but I think she's been tuned up and ready to go. She should have won this race last year, and arguably she's going better now, or her form certainly improved after that run in the Sheraco. So I see no reason why she can't win.
Mark Rhoden, any angle for yourself at this early point?
No, pretty similar to Mark. I think Fasika's clearly on top. She really is thrown into this race with 55 and looks to get a nice run off the speed and trialling sensationally. Just ticks all the boxes. But again, you're going to have 16 runners in this, and do you want to take shorter than 6 to 4 or that kind of region? It's the market hasn't missed her. I can't get her that short, and I'm not desperate to bet against her. The only I know the comments about Mizzy as well, because it's the one that probably on figures has, the capability of testing for Seeker, but she's had a very long break, over 300 days. If Mark thinks, well, she's going to be in need of the run, I suppose we confirm that up with Rob's views from the mounting yard on Saturday. She may be in need of this run and might be no hope of winning. And Hawkbury on her was the other one. 14, I presume they just have to go forward and stick her right in the race. If she gets across with a minimum of fuss, she can at least run well. But just looking through my prices, there's nothing beyond the 2 or 3 they've got at the head of the market that I'd be interested in even speccing. I really think they've sorted this out pretty well.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'm very interested to see what the market does in general with Hawkbury on her. I wouldn't be surprised if it drifted out a little bit more just with the wide gate. And if that's the case, I'd be happy to just have a throw at the stumps, really. I thought the first up form from that horse last prep was pretty strong and 2 trials were really good. So just one of those might get a slightly better price as a result of the barrier. But it's a nice addition, and the mounting yard will certainly give a fair bit of weight to that. We'll preview the last race, race 9, which is a benchmark 78 over 1,500 metres. Mark Rhoden, I'll start with you here because you did find Entente first up. Are you going to stick with that horse second up?
I've actually got him third. I've got 3 main chances, and they're King's Air. Oh, well, you see, King's Air is the emergency and favourite, or equal favourite. So assuming he gets a run, I've got King's Air, Paper Warrior, and Entente the 3. Betting wise, there's not a lot of edge for me. Paper Warrior may be the closest to an over at this point. Entente was quite good first up, sitting 3 wide at an unsuitable trip. I just wonder whether because both he and Discharge surely do the best work from in front. So what the 2 stablemates are going to do there, I don't know. If he got softened up by his stablemate or had to take, I don't know if taking a trail and trying to sprint him over 1,500 would be his go either. So if the map didn't quite pan out for him, I think he could be a little bit vulnerable. King's Air beat nothing last start, but is certainly the horse in the race with upside. A horse with that and that kind of SP profile, the market's not really going to miss. I think they've assessed him pretty right. Paper Warrior came through that bloody awful race, really, that Academy won a couple of weeks back, but he was a luckless runner. He's about 100th up, been up longer than the pyramids, as they say, but that doesn't really worry me with Chris Waller these days. He got sticking old word for word to win, 100th up the other day. So I don't think you worry about that with this type of Waller horse. They're just tough old campaigners, and they'll just keep doing what they do. If he gets luck from gate 2, he can win. And if he gets out to better than 750, I could have something on him, but it's not a race I'm tremendously excited about. Law Me In's the other one, trialled really well. I've got it mapped in the 3 wide line, which is the kind of horse I'm going to be opposing on Saturday. But if there were scratchings and it got a better run than that, I'd probably have to shorten it up.
Mark Shean, I'll throw to you. Do you have any thoughts for the last race?
Yeah, I didn't mind Law Me In, but, I'd have to see the way the track was playing. It is a back marker, but this horse has trialled particularly well. Its last 2 trials have been outstanding. Had one earlier in the week and just powdered the line under a hold and beat Graceful Glamour in a trial prior to that, who ran very well in the tramway on Saturday. So, look, I know he's got 60 kilos and he is a back marker, but I think he'd be tuned up to go first up. King's Air, a little bit worried about gate number 1 for him. He's a massive horse, so just worried if he gets boxed up on the inside there. But with 54 kilos, potentially he is the best horse in this field. And I wouldn't be surprised if a Mito ran a little bit of a better race, just got too far out of its ground after missing the start. But Law Me In each way if they can make ground in the last for me.
Yeah, and I'll be paying attention to if they can make ground. At this stage, I've got Betcha Flying as a slight over, which is always a concern, but didn't mind the jockey change. And I think the barrier I think Hugh Bowman will probably be reasonably hungry, I think it's fair to say, returning to racing there on Saturday. And look, it's a horse that has posted a good second up figure in both starts so far throughout its career. So that's the way I'll be angling in race 9 if the track allows. Mark Shean, I'll throw to you. Do you have a best bet, best value bet, or a best lay for the card?
I thought She's Ideal would be hard to beat in the third, and I thought Moanga would win race 5. But Moanga would be certainly one that you'd have to look at track pattern, because I think he'll probably get back, even though they did get slow at Newcastle last start and he did get shuffled back. I think he'll probably settle off the speed there. But that win at Newcastle was outstanding, in my opinion. I don't think he's bumped into any world beaters there. And I think She's Ideal will hopefully be ridden a little bit more aggressively early and take up a better position. So they're the two that I like on the day.
All right, Mark Rhoden, for yourself, do you have a best bet, best value, or best lay bet?
I'll make Funstar the best, and it might be the last time ever. I think this is the third time to stand up. I think with a more aggressive rider, or at least putting her, in the front half of the field, which she should be able to attain. We'll see what she's made of. If she's as good as as I think, then around 9 to 4, 5 to 2 is a good price, and I'll be happy to take it. Or she might show herself up, but we'll find out one way or the other.
All right, and I'll probably not getting too much of a luxury at the moment, but more than happy to throw out Farnan and back it for a decent result. Really liked that horse and thought the trials were excellent. Thank you to you both for joining me here to preview what looks a pretty decent card, certainly compared with previous weeks. I think we're certainly starting to get a bit more excited about Sydney racing and getting into some of these features coming up. So go well to you both, and we'll catch up on Monday to review it.
No worries. Speak to you then.